Here we go. I really hope. I don't want to have to kill people. The people on my ship. We gotta save them. We gotta be the good guys. But this is Warhammer 40k. Hey, it's Worcester. Worcestershire. Oh. It's the only one, a rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I clearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a base heating. Ah.
Let us not dawdle.
This must be where the workers sleep.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for...
Oh, I really bad. The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior, Jocasta Sourback, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already, and now has reached a boiling point. Lieutenant, my patience is wearing thin. I've given you an order. Now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under the Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So, not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Your lordship! Snap to attention. Let's speak to what's the situation? Your lordship, my people may have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have their situation under control as far as the resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant? I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There is nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate repressions and firing squads. And you, Vent, are a step away from facing charges yourself. I want to speak to the strikers. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Let's do a courtesy save. Dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Oh. We've done nothing wrong and we're being punished. A whisper passes through the crowd and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain. What's troubling you? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Old man. Oh, shut up, Rivet. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. Magenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who's stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and has no fellow feeling toward us. The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We plotted no disorder, we went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. You say nothing, but I was told one of you was found in possession of an amulet. A cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If that was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. Oh, I skipped it. Darn it. Ah. Punished, but how could there be heretics here? We know our own people, and there have been no new faces around. Definitely not. And if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with. Nobody's ever tread these decks in boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots really were fine, and there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We didn't know any amulets. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers in the servo martyr. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your lordship, we are people of faith. I confirm the information regarding the proper tending of the machine spirits in this sector. Servitors indicate that these commoners are performing the sacraments that they permitted to know. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch-enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of holy fathers. Holy fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil. But who will you blame? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbors? Abelard, you got anything to say? I authorized the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. True. The rabble understands only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulations, should the laborers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end, they are the source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads, fall in line, and the need for punitive measures will disappear. Well, that's a bit harsh, but this is Warhammer. Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking us Bildrats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been the leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. Yeah, that's a bit much. You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for the weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them. One lower deck to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. I don't like Nan. Nan seems a bit suspicious. A bit sus. You speak for yourself and your clan, I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns his back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared to speak out. Execute everybody. Spreading anarchy is the first step to embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands, we will consider the rest. Succeeded! Old man, listen, the Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions, and I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who has ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down, now. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old man. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up, and it's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of them. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. But I'll shut up. I will, indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. I don't like her. That's great. Just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. You can still just turn around, execute everybody. Then it's decided. Oh, I've lost two. Oh. Well, at least they got their people. They're happy. Of course, your lordship, we'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. Alrighty. Oh, jeez. Why? Why?
Is there money to be made?
Goods. I'll take those goods.
I always have a backup plan.
Stopping, the Nobilite imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses the other companion, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Oh boy. Is that how you see your future at the helm of Von Valancius, Protectorate? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. I am obliged to speak thus. Who else can point out your errors and offer you counsel? Let's talk about your role in this. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot down on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Mm-hmm. Situation got out of control. You're right, at least concerns junior officers making complaints directly to you. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Oh. The prosperity of the Von Valancia's protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. The rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left everything behind I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancements of the entire protectorate rested on my shoulders. Oh well. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over the years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I'll tell you this honestly without fear of appearing weak. All this comes as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by a tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed access to requirements. Yes, Lord Captain. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places.
I always keep my options open.
It's going to be a massive level up time when we get back. Cookie time! Yeah, I need some movement stuff. Hmm. Ooh, yeah, that looks nice. Hmm. Yeah, look at that. Seems like they really want him to use plasma or Melta. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. That might be handy. Yep, we'll get her that one. Lord Captain, reporting the herald to the Navis Nobilite, continued to maintain Vox silence, perhaps due to Urak 5 being off limits to visitors. We intercepted signals from the beacons drifting in the station's orbit, and demands are clear. We are told to turn the ship around immediately. No. We have also detected an accumulation of space debris near the space station's docks. Presumably it is the remains of interplanetary shuttles. Perhaps the esteemed Navis Nobilite House requires aid, and therefore cannot respond. Scan the station. The officers from the Augur crew performed a full scan, but the information is imprecise. They note wave distortions of unclear genesis that are throwing off most of the readings. We were able to ascertain that the reactor core of the station is still active, but many compartments are unpowered and some fully depressurized. The signs of biological activity are largely present in the central module, which means the station has not been abandoned. Contact him. I'm sorry, Lord Captain, the station does not reply even after an official greeting by a rogue trader and the declaration of your intent to negotiation in person. Commence docking. We do not know what is happening at the station, so we will have to look for the esteemed navigators blind. Everybody's coming with. Cookie time.
Pathetic worm. You dare to argue with your master? It was not you whom I swore to serve within these walls. My lips are sealed. Confess. What was the old man's last command? What are you planning? Give up, Keeper. You have lost this battle. Again.
We're getting nowhere with these ones, sir. Permission to execute them.
There's something going on here. A tall man stops you with a gesture when you approach. Blood is trickling down the pearly scales of his weary face, and not just his own blood. Two jet-black unblinking eyes are watching your every move, and the third one, the mark of a navigator's fate, is menacingly pulsing behind the lowered lid in the middle of his forehead. Step back, or I will unleash all the horrors of the Sea of Souls upon you. Emperor, be my witness. Answer in High Gothic. This system has been under the protection of the Winterscale dynasty for many years. Admittedly, I did not expect to meet another rogue trader in my lifetime, let alone one of noble blood. Oh. And since fate has brought such an important person into my abode, allow me to introduce myself. Before you stands Svela Christoph August, keeper of this station. So you did not come to offer support to the traitors? This is great news. Having said that, you must understand that Urak 5 is a holy sanctum for House Orselio, and the path to it is only revealed to a select few. It pains me to say you are not on the guest list. The soldiers are quivering as if the tormented flesh were being flayed, yet they keep clutching their weapons. The blame lies with Theobald Arcelio, the second keeper of Urak 5. The old man was a great navigator, but he can no longer control his powers. I begged him to retire, but he was too obsessed with our mistress, Lady Cassia. His madness and stubbornness spelled doom for the entire station, for he opened his third eye in a fit of rage, and unleashed the horrors of the warp on those who displeased him. The Theobald I knew would never have used his powers in such a reckless manner. This would be difficult to explain to the uninitiated, but I'm going to try. The warp currents have been tumultuous, oh boy, for dozens of cycles, and have worn the veil between our world and the immaterium thin and frail. At least here on this station, the ruinous powers are trying to tear it down completely and corrupt all living things. The servants were the first to fall victim to it. Oh, their bodies morphed in pain, and despair drove the poor souls mad. The lunatics took my mistress prisoner and almost destroyed the station, but I rallied the few who still followed the light of the Golden Throne. Those guys were praising the Emperor, though. Unvarnished truth. I bet the station is full of voices and whispers, all trying to break through from the other side, waiting for you to reach out and swing the door. The suffocating grip of the Immaterium can be felt across the entire system. It is not surprising the veil grew thin here of all places. The Navis Nobilite can command the warp currents, but the use of their abilities wears down the barrier between the two worlds. I sincerely hope the influence of the Immaterium has not yet affected your body and your soul. With all due respect, I advise you to not remain at the station. Return to your void ship. I need to save Lady Cassia. If you are not willing to help or indeed risk your life, you must leave now. What kind of help? I would never ask you for such favor under different circumstances, and yet Lady Cassia's well-being is above all. I haven't got many people left, and my wounds are too deep for me to act with precision and swiftness, but you may actually succeed. In order to ascend to the Mistress's chambers, you will need to remake a holy relic sanctified with the blood of Lady Orselio herself. This is the control route of the elevator machine spirit. I have one part, and the other was lost during the mutiny, but even this relic will be of no use unless the elevator mechanism is powered. How do I make it? I have a phylactery containing the Mistress's blood. It needs to be taken to the laboratory, which is located behind one of the reliquary doors. The most ancient of sacred mechanisms will help to rebuild the rod. The tech priests ceaselessly performed the rites of appeasement so that the machine spirit would serve the house in its time of need. The fateful hour is now upon us. Requesting access to objects data crypt, the Navis Nobilite used independent modifications of standard sanguinary technologies due to the uniqueness of the genetic code inherent in the lineage of each house. And these technologies were made secret for a reason. I must respectfully decline your request, esteemed servant of the Omnissiah. You have your sacraments and we have ours. How am I supposed to do it? The station's main cogitator is situated in the guard room. Just enter the correct command sequence and the sacred mechanism will do the rest. I guess that makes sense. So what have you decided, descendant of the Von Valancius line? You will rejoice. Your mistress will live. I need a contract. So be it. Hurry. The mistress's safety is all that matters, but should you fail, our arrangement is finished. Ooh! Save.
Always keep your eye on the price.
The Navis Nobilite is a unique part of the Imperium's apparatus. The privileged position navigators occupy enables them to carry out questionable acts, which they hide behind the walls of their fortresses.
The station's silence can hardly be considered a good sign. Perhaps it was attacked by cultists, or as with our ship, the strike came from within.
God grants the insight.
Okay, they took their own lives by cutting their own guts open. Sounds like a lovely way to go. Oh, he's got a lot of...
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust. What do we have here?
Ooh, frags. Ripper auto pistol. We're gonna have to look through our stuff soon. Mumbles ain't going. Nope. Protect the child.
You will beg for mercy, but I will grant none.
None of you shall survive! On it.
Bzz.
Be gone.
5 enemies with 1 attack. And, how did he die? I mean, I'm not questioning that, but okay. Nice.
Was that you? Or
Ooh.
I'll make it happen.
Shotgun him.
Never stood a chance. It's as good as done.
Everyone, step aside.
Missed. No.
But of course, Lord Captain.
My faith strengthens
Oh, hello.
As the Emperor commands, I act. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. Faith without deeds
do
is
some
worthless.
gun.
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone. In thy light I stand, and thy light I crave. Eradicated. I will not. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. I'll do it.
Nice.
As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it.
Hi.
Onward! I must not falter.
Take shot.
Follow my lead.
Oh boy. Ow.
Will do.
Oh. I bet you do.
Your end was inevitable. Here's my perfect moment.
$56. That's brutal. All the loot, all the loot. Ooh, what's that? Intercepted conversation. Yes, but this promotion will transfer the entire squad to the child's personal guard. By the God Emperor.
Rush not Donal.
There. You're a strapping lad, you'll probably make it for a cyclist, right? He's worn down better than me. Then what is even the point if your brain's turned into mush? I may rip out my eyes like Amos did. At best, I'll just go bonkers like that little shit stain kept stealing our IO. Oh, what happened to that one? Threw himself out of a depressurized chamber because some voices told him to. Calm down. Keeper Felix said the squad will not have to serve the child for long. He even gave us a little leeway. Unlike that fish-eyed. Oh, jeez. Oh, okay. Yeah, while we're in here. Heinrichs. What do you have attached? Sniper rifle. What sniper rifle? Oh, ×4. Yeah, I can't really do much with anything right now, I guess. Attempts to nurture only the finest flowers in the garden, that is their master's life. Therefore, new seeds for the garden must be weeded out with the utmost care. The faithful servant always makes sure the mistress's rooms and garments are clean. The faithful servant will never offer the mistress the same dress presented. The faithful servant always offers the mistress a glass of fresh water. So test each dish and never drink before serving it. Okay. is all that stuff? Why am I getting all this weird
The
stuff?
crew continues to mourn Lady Theodora. I fear it may affect the performance of their duties in service of the Lord Captain.
In his service, will they find strength and fortitude? Only thus will they turn their hearts away from the frailties that lead to heresies.
Do a quick save. It's behind door number 1.
Is there money to be made?
Door number 2. Protect the child. Oh. Okay. I mean, sure. Just shotgun. Okay.
I always have a backup plan.
This exploratory is blessed with multifunctionality.
Lots of kids.
Operation successful.
All right. It's covered in cracks and stained with dried blood. The button switches and levers were ripped out of the control panel with exceptional cruelty and scattered around this sacred mechanism. I am recording blasphemy. The person found guilty of such cruelty to a noble mechanism must be sentenced to immediate destruction. Dials and pull an activation lever. The cracked video screen of the sacred engine flickers. The cogitators inside emits creaks and groans, and the lumens oscillate at random. It takes a while, but eventually the machine's spirits do grant you access. The data appears on the vid screen. Main hall, alive. Theobald Arcelio, alive. Calamira Arcelio, deceased. Alexius Arcelio, deceased. Rasmus Esteban Arcelio, deceased. The child location, upper chambers, biometric parameters, rapid heartbeat, elevated body temperature, stress level exceeds the permissible limit, status unknown, error. Common procedures advised, attention, upper chambers inaccessible, error. The control rod is not present. If the rod has been misplaced, immediately contact a station keeper. It's partially corrupted, but you still manage to access the residual logs. The Vox report. This is Officer A2A2. Do you copy? Several generators overheated on the lower levels. Chambers A to D are unpowered. The tech priest sent to investigate the problem is not responding. Requesting back. Officer H123 speaking. 200 servants have perished due to explosive decompression of the living quarters. We've located traces of mechanical interference. The preliminary cause is officer sabotage. Crews 5, 6, and 9 are cut off from the main compartment. We have enough oxygen for 20 minutes. May the Emperor save our souls. This is the captain speaking. We attempted to contact the Winter Scale Scion for help, but something is jamming the signal. We never received a reply and cannot be sure it was even sent in the first place. A rescue team is not coming. We are on our own. Anyone could be a traitor. Do you hear me? Anyone. Oh, jeez. This is the encrypted data. required access level security captain or above. Current access security officer. You usually bypass the restrictions imposed on the sacred machine. The cogitator's overload process was more unhappy. Most of the data has been wiped. You find traces of the purge protocol. Recovery is impossible, but a list of the most recent commands have been embedded in the machine spirit's consciousness. Now flits across the screen in a single creeping line. Child, delete, picked, flow, disable, access code, and all station controls delete. Activate shuttle, self-destruct, purge command log. Exploring the archives for a while longer yields a surviving excerpt from a guard captain's report, mentioning that the security system had recently been reconfigured without his knowledge. Only the keepers of the station have access to the life support system, but Keepers Theobald had not left the child's side, and neither had I. Could it be that? In the recents, the servants close to the child have started butchering one another again. An order came from above to have their remains processed. The negotiations with the Winter Scales were a success. A new batch of servants will arrive in 10 moons. Escort them to the laboratory at once. It is imperative that we increase the new retainer's resistance to the child's powers. Data expunged. Regent Aranto Orselio, data visit classified, reason for visit classified, date of departure classified. Yeah, there's the living quarters, yeah. Warning, living quarters L10, depressurized, warning, unable to access the station's docking system. Energy regulation, unknown error, the station will transfer emergency power. That's not good. Pascal casts a brief glance at the vid screen and speaks dryly. The imminent demise of this void station is affirmed. The damage to its core infrastructure has reached critical mass, at which point further degradation is commenced in a cascading configuration. Let's open all the doors. Warning, data corrupted, processing, error, blah 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 is required. If I can read binary. The spirits of this sacred machine require special purification rituals in order to restore utilization of the lingua, more familiar to the citizens of the Imperium. A few minutes later, Pascal raises his hands above the machine and moves. Okay. Hey! Doors already been opened. That's depressurized. Passage has been opened. Doors already been opened. Okay.